Have you noticed that every time the market thinks it's seen the peak of the AI boom, AMD somehow finds another gear? This quarter was one of those moments, the kind that makes investors sit up, grab their coffee, and ask, wait, did AMD just quietly outgrow expectations again? Before we jump in, remember, this video is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. But if you enjoy staying ahead of market trends and want real insight into what's happening behind the numbers, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps this channel reach more investors like you. Now, let's talk AMD. The company just posted its latest earnings, and the results were stronger than most analysts expected. Revenue came in around $9.2 billion, up more than 30% from a year ago. Earnings per share? About $1.20, which shows not just growth, but efficiency. And when you dig into the segments, that's where things get really interesting. AMD's data center division absolutely dominated this quarter, bringing in roughly $4.3 billion in sales. That's the engine behind their AI acceleration story. Everyone's been watching to see whether AMD could meaningfully challenge NVIDIA in the AI space, and this report proves they're not just competing. They're gaining ground. The Instinct MI450 chip, built on their advanced CDNA architecture, is now showing up in some of the biggest AI infrastructure builds in the world. Microsoft's Azure, Meta's data centers, and even a few confidential projects in partnership with OpenAI are reportedly integrating AMD hardware at scale. Now, they're not replacing NVIDIA, but AMD is carving out a solid slice of the market that didn't exist for them just 2 years ago. And here's what's fueling investor excitement. AMD isn't chasing NVIDIA on price. They're competing on performance per watt and scalability. That means cloud providers can run massive AI workloads while saving power and cooling costs, and in today's market, that matters. The client and gaming segments also had a surprising rebound, roughly $4 billion in combined revenue, signaling that the PC refresh cycle is alive again. After 2 sluggish years, we're finally seeing gamers, creators, and enterprises upgrade to new Ryzen and Radeon systems. AMD's bet on the hybrid AI PC, combining CPU and GPU acceleration right on the same chip, is starting to pay off. Lisa Su, AMD's CEO, emphasized that AI integration isn't just a data center story, it's everywhere. She said, every PC will be an AI PC. That might sound like marketing fluff, but think about what it means for the next few years. As AI features become standard in Windows and Mac OS, the chips powering those systems will need onboard neural engines. AMD's Ryzen AI platform gives them a massive head start, especially since it's compatible across laptops, desktops, and even mini PCs. Now, the stock reaction right after earnings? Volatile, but in a good way. AMD jumped about 7% in after-hours trading before cooling slightly as investors digested the numbers. What really caught attention wasn't just the headline beat, it was the guidance. Management forecast next quarter's revenue between $9.3 and $9.9 billion. That midpoint, around 9.6, implies strong sequential growth, which is rare for a chipmaker this late in the year. It shows confidence in both the AI ramp and consumer demand. Margins also ticked higher. Gross margin now sits around 51%, and that's a sign of pricing power. Despite heavy R&D spending and intense competition, AMD is keeping profitability strong. That balance between growth and discipline is what Wall Street loves to see. But what really got investors buzzing was AMD's comments about their upcoming Analyst Day and next-gen roadmap. They hinted at the MI500 series, expected to be unveiled early next year, a direct competitor to NVIDIA's next-generation Blackwell chips. If AMD can deliver even close to NVIDIA's performance but with better cost efficiency, we're looking at a real two-player race for AI infrastructure dominance. Meanwhile, partnerships are expanding. AMD's collaboration with OpenAI, yes, the same company behind ChatGPT, could grow into something far bigger. There's growing speculation that OpenAI is diversifying its hardware sources not to replace NVIDIA, but to reduce dependence on one supplier. And AMD, with its flexible architecture and aggressive production ramp through TSMC, fits perfectly into that strategy. Investors love stories like this because it's not just a short-term pop, it's a structural shift. AMD is positioning itself as the smart alternative in AI, the company that balances innovation, affordability, and openness. And if that narrative sticks, it can fuel another leg higher in valuation. But here's the key question everyone's asking right now. Is AMD stock still undervalued? When you compare its current market cap to the total addressable market in AI, data center, and PC combined, the math gets pretty compelling. The AI accelerator market alone could top $200 billion by 2027. Even a 10% share for AMD would translate to tens of billions in annual revenue, multiples above today's run rate. Now let's dig deeper into what might drive that next leg higher. One of the biggest drivers behind AMD's recent success isn't just product strength, it's execution discipline. Lisa Su has built a culture that prioritizes precision. When AMD says they'll launch on time, they do. When they set targets, they hit them. That's not something investors take for granted in the semiconductor world. The company's focus on long-term scalability, not hype, is what's giving analysts confidence. They're projecting sustained double-digit revenue growth into 2026, with margins holding steady or even improving as higher-end AI products become a bigger share of sales. And there's another quiet but powerful story building behind the scenes: software. For years, NVIDIA had a huge edge thanks to CUDA, their proprietary AI software ecosystem. But AMD is catching up fast with ROCm, their open, developer-friendly platform that's now fully optimized for PyTorch and TensorFlow. OpenAI engineers have even been seen contributing to ROCm code updates. That's a signal the software gap is closing faster than many realize. Meanwhile, AMD's partnership list keeps growing. Amazon's AWS has started offering new instances powered by MI300 and MI450 chips. Meta and Oracle are both expanding pilot programs. And let's not forget the gaming side. AMD continues to power both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, meaning even when consumer cycles fluctuate, AMD keeps that steady baseline of console demand. So while NVIDIA continues to dominate the ultra-high-end AI chip market, AMD is positioning itself as the scalable, efficient, everywhere alternative. And that word, everywhere, really defines AMD's 2025 story. In the consumer market, AI PCs are coming fast. In the data center, hyperscalers are now actively mixing hardware ecosystems. And in edge computing, AMD's compact accelerators are showing up in autonomous systems, robotics, and even industrial automation. That's the quiet expansion most retail investors overlook, the real long tail of AI adoption. Now, valuation, because every investor wants to know if they missed the train. AMD's trading at roughly 35 times forward earnings. That's not cheap, but when you consider earnings growth north of 30%, it's reasonable. Compare that to NVIDIA's multiple, still hovering near 50, and you see why some big funds are rotating into AMD. It's the same AI story, but at a discount. The next 6 months will be critical. If AMD executes its Q4 guidance and delivers that MI500 launch early next year, sentiment could shift dramatically. We might start hearing more about AI duopoly instead of NVIDIA monopoly. That's a powerful narrative change, and narratives move markets. Lisa Su summed it up perfectly during the earnings call. We're just getting started in the AI era. Our architecture, our partnerships, and our execution set us up for years of leadership. When a CEO with her track record says that, and the numbers back it up, investors pay attention. So where does that leave us? AMD isn't just another semiconductor stock anymore. It's one of the few companies truly positioned at the crossroads of AI, data center, and personal computing. Their growth isn't dependent on one product. It's spread across ecosystems, and that's what gives them resilience. Whether you're holding long-term or just watching the story unfold, one thing's clear. The AI race is no longer a one-horse show. AMD's running full stride, and they're not slowing down. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. We've got more in-depth market stories coming your way soon. Stay sharp, stay informed, and as always, invest smart.